All right, here we go with the last objective of the unit, which is objective 9, solving multi-step equations with variables on both sides with distribution. So this is kind of like taking all of the skills that we practiced so far and we're putting it all together into one little equation, or maybe not so little. So looking at this here, I noticed that we've got variables on both sides. So we have variables over here, we have variables over here. We've also got distribution, and then we're also solving for x. So this is kind of everything all together. The goal, again, still hasn't changed. The goal is to get the variable by itself. That's how we solve equations. So to get the variable by itself. So you can follow these steps for any of the equations that you're going to see in this unit, and really anything that we're solving this year, you can follow these steps, and you should be good to go. Some of these steps you might not have to do, but if you follow these steps, then you should be good to go. Step one is to distribute. So distribute where you can. In this case, I see that we've got a grouping x plus 4. We can distribute this. We can distribute the 2 into both of these terms. So when we distribute, we have 2 times x gives us 2x, and 2 times positive 4 gives us positive 8. And then I'll just bring down the rest. So plus 3x minus 6 equals 4x plus 7. Step 2 is what we already know, combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. Combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. So looking at this here, I see we have 2x and 3x. Those are like terms. We get 2 plus 3 is 5. So 5x. And then we have 8 and negative 6. Well, 8 minus 6 is 2. So plus 2. On the right-hand side, there are no like terms, so we just leave it as is, 4x plus 7. Step 3 is we choose a side, so variables on one side. Variables on one side and the numbers on the other side. So the variables on one side and the numbers on the other side. So let's choose a side. Let's say that the left side is variables and the right side is numbers. All right. So if we want the variables on the left side, we got to move this 4x over. Now, one thing I want to point out, so this is a positive 4x, right? We want to move this to the other side. In order to move the positive 4x to the other side, we subtract 4x. So that's how we get this to cancel on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we have 5x minus 4x, or 5 minus 4 is just 1x. And you can write 1x, you can just write x either way. And then we'll bring down the plus 2 equals, bring down the 7. And then we want the numbers on the right side, so we got to move this 2 over. So we subtract 2 from both sides. Left side cancels, and we have x equals 7 minus 2 is 5. And in that case, we've solved for x. X is by itself. We're done there. But again, I'm going to include this last step. Solve as usual. And remember, to solve, we use reverse PEMDAS. And again, if you do anything to the left-hand side, you must also do it to the right-hand side. All right, let's try an example here. So this first one, step 1, is distribute. So let's see if we can distribute. I see that we can distribute this 3. So we have 3 times x gives us 3x. And 3 times negative 2, this minus tags along with the 2. So 3 times negative 2 gives us negative 6, or minus 6. And then we'll bring down the rest. So plus 2x plus 5 minus 3x equals 7 plus 4x minus 2x. Kind of a long one here. Step 2 is to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. So let's look at the left-hand side. We have 3x, 2x, and negative 3x. So 3 plus 2 minus 3 gives us 2. So 2x. And then we combine our numbers. I have a negative 6 and a plus 5. So negative 6 plus 5 gives us negative 1. On the right-hand side, I see we have a 4x and a negative 2. So 4 minus 2 gives us 2. So we have 2x. And then plus 7. So I like to write my variables first and then just my numbers second. If you have 7 plus 2x, that's fine as well. It doesn't matter as long as you keep them straight. So, you keep your variables with your variables and your numbers with your numbers. Okay. So let's step 3, choose a side for the variables and choose a side for the numbers. Let's say that the left-hand side is the variables and the right-hand side is the numbers. Doesn't matter, just pick a side. So if we want the variables on the left-hand side, we got to move this over to the other side. So to move this 2x to the other side, we subtract 2x. Now, notice what happens here. On the right-hand side, we moved it over, so of course that cancels. But then over here too, we have 2x minus 2x. That cancels as well. So in total, on both sides, we have 0 x's. So don't write x, right? If you just write x, that tells us we have 1x. We don't even have 1x. We just have 0 x's. So don't write anything. On the left-hand side then, we just bring down the negative 1. And on the right-hand side, we bring down the 7. So look what happens here. We don't have any x's, so we can't solve for x. And we've also got this equation here, negative 1 equals 7. So it looks a little confusing, but just ask yourself, does negative 1 equal 7? Well, no, that's not true. Negative 1 equals negative 1, or 7 equals 7. So anytime you get here, where you get a statement that is false, right? Negative 1 does not equal 7. This is false. Then that tells us that we have no solution. So this is a new example that we haven't seen yet, but it's not all that different, right? If our variables cancel out and you get a statement that is false, you have no solution. And that's it. That's all the work. There's no extra things to be done. All right, go ahead and flip the page. Okay, so step 1 here, we distribute. So we're going to distribute this 4 into both of these terms. So we have 4 times x gives us 4x. And 4 times negative 5 gives us negative 20. And you can check that on your calculator. And we bring down the rest. Plus 6 minus 2x plus 3 equals 3x. And then we've got some more distributing to do. So this plus 2 gets distributed. So we have 2 times x and 2 times negative 1. So 2 times x is 2x, so plus 2x. And then 2 times negative 1 gives us negative 2. Okay, step 2, we combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. So I see over here we have a 4x and a minus 2x. So 4 minus 2 is 2. So we have 2x. And then negative 20, positive 6, and positive 3. So negative 20 plus 6 plus 3. Let's plug that into our calculator. Got negative 20 plus 6 plus 3 gives us negative 11. So we have minus 11 equals, on the right-hand side, we have 3x and 2x. So 3 plus 2 gives us 5. So 5x. And then the minus 2 just tags along. There's nothing to combine with it there. Step 3, we choose a side for the variables and choose a side for the numbers. So let's switch it up. We'll say the right-hand side is the variables and the left-hand side is the numbers. So then we have to move this 2x to the other side. So in order to move that to the other side, we subtract 2x from both sides. On the left-hand side, it cancels. So then on the right-hand side, we have 5x minus 2x is 3x. We bring down the minus 2. bring down the equals, bring down the negative 11. We got to move this 2 over to the other side, so we have a minus 2. In order to get rid of that, we add 2. So we add 2 to both sides. These cancel, and we have negative 11 plus 2 is negative 9. And then we bring down the 3x. Our last step, we divide by 3. So divide by 3 on both sides. And negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. So our answer, x equals negative 3. Let's try one more. So here we've got some distribution, but it's on the inside of the equation. And that's fine, you can have that. So we'll start by rewriting our first terms. So bring down the 2x, bring down the 6, so plus 6. But then notice what's going on here. We have minus 3, and then that's where we distribute. So when we're distributing, one of the biggest things that I see students mistake is they just distribute the 3. Here we want to distribute the negative 3. So this negative tags along with the 3. So we want to multiply all the terms on the inside by negative 3. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And then we have negative 3 times negative 2. So this negative tags along with the 2. So negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 2 is 6. So this negative 3 times negative 2 gives us positive 6. So plus 6. And then we'll bring down the rest. So plus 4x equals 4x minus 6. And then we've got more distribution. So let's do that. This positive 2 gets distributed in 2. So we have 2 times x is 2x. And then 2 times 3 is 6. So plus 6. Now we're going to combine like terms. So 2x, negative 3x, and 4. So 2 minus 3 plus 4. It might be helpful to use your calculator. I get 3x. And then we've got a plus 6 and a minus 6. Plus 6 and a plus 6, so that would be 12. And then we've got, on the right-hand side, we have 4x and 2x. So 4 plus 2 is 6x. And then here we have minus 6 and plus 6. So minus 6 and plus 6, well, we know what that is. That cancels. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. So you could write plus 0, or you don't have to write anything. So now we have to choose a side for the variables and choose a side for the numbers. Now, I noticed that this side, it only has variables. So you can save yourself some time and some effort and just notice that, well, there's no numbers on this side. So let's just choose this side to be the variables. It's only variables already. So we'll say that's our variables, and we'll say that's our numbers. So then all we have to do then is move this variable over to the other side. So we subtract 3x from both sides, and the left side cancels. We have 6x minus 3x is 3x, 6 minus 3. We'll bring down the 12, so we have 12 equals 3x. Our last step, we divide by 3. X equals 12 divided by 3 is 4. And that's our final answer. All right, so we're going to get a whole lot of practice on this. Have a great day, everyone.